5D people. Here at IHP, it simply means functional adult, mindfully aware human being who has an inner child adult in the forefront. So the whole self, that is where your whole self is for you to share with us how you got home to yourself if you have a self lens. Okay, so everyone is, as we were discussing in our secular and or spiritual self-help group, we're all smart brains, and that's because stable, mature, adaptive, rational, and teachable people know that the left motors are really boring. Now, left motors also have a right mode. They just don't use their inner child because they don't get home to their self. We're going to leave that alone for now, and I'm going to read, because as a divine feminine who's connected to the oneness consciousness. Okay, so here is this rabbi who told me all about feminine and masculine energies. We all have them, feminine and masculine. I call divine feminine your body, which you will have when you have your inner child whole. Means use your human name. That's why when Sadhguru says if you overflow with humanity, divinity has to descend, the 3D take offense whenever anyone wants to use the word God, divinity, godlike. The true people of faith, they don't take offense. And that's because sciences and spirituality come together within the smart planet brain people. Okay, we know the earth isn't flat. We're okay with flat earth. No, really, they could use their brains otherwise. But hey, you never know, right? Same thing with AI and reality. And anyways, let me put that aside. So true science is people, like true spirituality people. Oh yeah, I found out this thing about the 4D collective. It's kind of like when I found out the British with the American accents. I was quite not amused. It wasn't personal, but at the same time, I was like, wow, you're really exaggerating this. Like, you're honing it in. You don't know how to let go of something. That's understandable. I'm going to leave it alone. No, I didn't. I talked to my Italian British friend who actively said, yes, we are assholes. And then he and I have built a genuine relationship because I didn't say it to him in a way. No, I said, wow, you know what? You Brits are real assholes. You keep on picking at our anything, everything that comes out of my mouth. I mean, can I get a sentence through? So I was like, I didn't think you'd be that bad, but then I discovered you are, and I don't like it. I don't want to talk to any of you. No, I'll talk to you. I'll just know. So my friend, he's like, no, but that's because he's bicultural like me. So we resonate. That's what happens, right? When people, they resonate. So people resonate with IHP if they love people. If they don't love people, they don't love feelings, you won't resonate. Yes, mantles are not going to resonate because we're going to tell them, hey, Elsa, you have a 3-year-old, so do I. Stop making it sound like trauma ruined your life or Lucifer, because yes, it did. I'm not going to say it's a small thing. Don't get me wrong, because it doesn't ruin your life if you pick your life up, like our lovely Patrick Tiahan points out when he, childhood trauma survivor, healing, shares with his community about the cowards who continue to perpetuate generational trauma, cultural and within families. So here's where Jacob stands, and I'm getting serious with my lovely little eyes here because there's all these people. How dare they? There's Isaac and Abraham, internally and externally oriented. Okay, calm down. And you can go and hang out with the Elsa Journey people. There's a Zen master for you who tells you all about laundry in your emotional plane. You don't have to come and have fun with the flow state, which the smart neurosciences people will tell you it's not supernatural to be a brain that works. It's your human makeup. So the people who get like their little Braveheart, yeah, I know them. I was a teenager when I got to handle them. I'm still properly working through my own. There's pet peeves. Yeah, I don't like hypocrites. Anytime I hear words inconsistently, I hear a hypocrite. But I got told how I'm a hypocrite by a left brainer, and they're a loved one of mine. And I remember the first moment that they said, yeah, you're a hypocrite. I had just finished telling them that they were a hypocrite. I don't think they said it because of that. And that's why I said, no, I'm not. And then I said, wait a minute. He has a point, and it's from his mouth. He has an opinion. I want to hear it. That's what healthy self-worth, by the way, looks like. I want to hear it. So why would I be a hypocrite? You get curious. You're not offended. Offended would mean that you do things passive aggressively, which this same friend did. I'm going to share the story of my friend. I did not talk to him for a whole 5 years. In fact, I was reminded of the thing that I did say, which is if I have to say that I hate that I hate anyone, there's only 2 human beings on the face of this planet that I actually put in a box with hate, knowing that's very bad. But I'm going to leave you there because I'm going to work through my anger on my own, and I have no urgency because you know what I know? I know that I don't care. I'm going to sit with it, but I won't wish you ill will. I will maintain the silence of my left mode. See how an inner child adult works. I'm just letting you all notice it. So, okay, let me read to you first, otherwise I'm going to get sidetracked again. This is what channeled guidance messages came through. We embrace our lovely tree of life with our brothers and sisters through unconditionally loving, with flaws, integrity, and empowering educated minds and hearts. Open hearts like Jesus taught me, open minds, which means you have bilateral integration. You know that you can use all words. They don't stick in stone because they're not stone. My friend called me a hypocrite because he said, you say this today and that tomorrow. You read that today. And I said, yeah, I do. So I understood my friend's definition of how he uses hypocrisy. For me, he's a hypocrite because he doesn't actively walk a walk and talk a talk. And when I meet Cuscos, they're all hypocrites. The ones that get on my little callie button, well, that's something that I don't voice because it isn't any of my business. When there are those who are basically, as we have been discussing, a divine feminine is unimpressed by divine masculines or masculines overall. And I don't mean to make this into, it's not gender related. When you're connected to pure consciousness, it's called I unconditionally love. I accept you as you are. I do not have you work for love, and I understand you have emotions like any other person, which means you have a nervous system, which is why science humbles in the way of intellect a human being like me. The people who got me to know what I already knew inside, not the feminines spouting their mouths about what true spirituality is in a way of telling you how New Age is Luciferian, or those of us with crystals are, I mean, this dude's like, crystals, it's just bad psychology. Wow, that's amazing. Comparing that to that's not what this is. So I didn't realize that there's a bunch of people who are crapping on the ones of us who are integrating tarot, Akashic record readings, crystals, which, by the way, seriously, anyways, what, lack of education does things to people. So when you don't get into, for example, rocks, crystals, call it what you want, they have properties. So geologists will be able to tell you why it can conduct. I have a whole book on it. I didn't read it all, but it's a way. It's not science. Yes, it is science. You don't have to agree with it. And there are people who call neuroscientists pseudosciences because they don't like how they tell them how the brain works. So I am pseudoscience lady. I know the difference between pseudoscience and sciences. I even know asshole sciences. I never met a medium ever. Wow. Okay. You are sciences because your brain works with sciences. You don't know what you just spoke, but you do. You're just a cocky, grandiose human being who didn't hear yourself. And really what it is you, sciences person, should know, like any true sciences person, that 97% of what is out there is unavailable to you. So the fact that you make some blanket statement like that, this bullshit. One, two, we have people like Sabine. Sabine, she wrote a book. I have to read that one, Sabine. It's called Existential Physics. And the reason she wrote it is because she shares the story. She was in a taxi, sharing a taxi with a person who is like me. They have people within the mystic plane. So they're shaman, or they're Akashic record reader, or a medium. One, I don't remember who exactly. I need to go read the book again. Told them that the grandma told them to tell him that she's here, she's still here because of quantum physics or something like that. And so Sabine, that's a sciences person. See, she said, I want to do something that can support the community. Although I still don't understand anything, Sabine. I mean, I'm trying, but the gibber gobberish is really, my brain has a hard time conceptualizing it. But I think I know some masculines that might be able to help. Divine, not divine, doesn't make a difference in the status of the person, but I use those words differently here, me, host and mentor. Okay, so with that being said, she wrote a book to explain existential big questions through physics. And I did begin that one, and I still don't understand the whole time thing. That's actually where my brain gets stuck. I don't know how to tell spaces. So you can give me algebra, which I really disliked, and I will try. And I can do it with a good person sitting next to me, like I did with statistics in my master's. I leave, I go home, I'm looking at a book, I'm almost like my friend, the illiterate, who's not my friend, but you know who I'm talking about for my community. So just letting you know that it's really frustrating for a person who likes to understand, because embodying knowledge is what understanding means when you have a brain that knows, oh, I assimilated it in my human body. Okay, now I know what not. I was spoken knowledge. Thank you, Rabbi. I was spoken knowledge so I can understand the wisdom is, okay, I know it brings me to something else, but embodying it means that I can incorporate it. I can't. So she explains time in that whole way that people talk about it, and I still haven't been able to grasp the concept, and I know it. That's called I'm self-aware, I'm accountable of my stupidity, and I regulate my frustration instead of becoming a 3-year-old that really doesn't need to get frustrated, actually 16-year-old, yep, 13-year-old, yes, and then college years. So okay, that's a perfect example of our child parts not being charged because you're aware of yourself, accountable, and regulating your nervous system, because I have a secure attachment and a healthy self-worth body. And so the tree of life with my brothers and sisters, we all have weaknesses and strengths. We don't need to be saying trauma didn't make me strong. Yes, we know that. Romanticizing it on TV only has people going around saying, how dare you say it's completely healable? It is, if you put your best feet forward and decide to go and work with somebody good. Now, the good part is important. So we have Patrick Tiahan shares with you how to identify a good therapist. So there's another lady who then whines about personal development and self-help, but hear what it is. EMDR, child parts work, somatics, sensory motor. And if you want more names, let me know. There's Pat Ogden. She's awesome for sensory motor. Peter Levine doesn't take people, but he's awesome to learn more about the body and all this stuff. Bezel van der Kolk. Stephen Porges is still working to get the quantitative data for the polyvagal theory. Julianne, I don't remember her last name. She's in Texas, though. Janina Fisher's great. Diane Poole, I think Heller, she works with attachment styles, and I took a course with her and Peter Levine on attachment styles, which is different than categories and trauma with Peter Levine. Terry Real is great for couples and for everyone. I like his style a lot. Relational, mindful relationships. So yeah, nobody needs to give up on, oh yeah, the passion stuff that this dude is like, we don't have passion, because passion would be emotions. I'm thinking, that's nice. I would definitely want a lifelong partner with no, it's bullshit is what I have to say, because pure consciousness, as I was saying, it's active embodiment of unconditional love. It means your oxytocin gene hormones on all the time. Bliss. Anyone? That's why when someone says to you can't always be on, well, actually, yes, because I use my prefrontal cortex as an integrated brain, a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. Come on over. So again, secular or spiritual. And let's finish up this lovely little bit of reading. So we embrace the tree of life with our brothers and sisters through unconditionally loving with flaws and integrity and empowering educated minds and hearts. Us, the mindful, equanimous, functional adults and 5D mystics. Join us if you are interested, and obviously that's why mindful, mind, sight, and mindset, inner growth here support you to keep doing that, because you want to. Otherwise, you're not going to be here. Recreate the fire of fertility that enables inner child adults to bring forth their true self with the passion of life that stems from what is meaningful to them from within the depths of their hearts and minds and body. So every person has their own inner child. Once it's whole, then you become your inner child adult if you want, and you can look like, no, you won't look like me. I have a twin, but you get the drift, your heart, passion. It doesn't go away. You're not a flat line. Oh, those left motors. Okay, so you have their whole self. The whole self is involved alongside the soul for those who are within the spiritual self-help realm, because I do not want to use the word too much, but there is a difference for those of us who have more than the feeling of the self. It's meaning that we channel, okay? So I'm just going to allow that to be something you can understand. It's not set in stone, so you want to use soul self, you do what you want, but I'm trying to share with those who do have a relationship. We will know that difference of our personality, and when we're putting it aside, and then we're channeling, or we're here, so we know how to differentiate between what is part of Maria and then what is not, but it's still coming through me, so I'm still there. I'm still a filter, which is also why every voice is going to matter to the collective. And that's also why we don't affect states of consciousness. And there is an invisible matter, dark energy balance. I'm going to leave that one out there. The infinite higher human conscious potential adult lifestyle and mindset amazes you every day more. It's amazing once you're opened up to it. We harness from mind, heart, and body, beingness and doingness in one. So this means maximizing our own masculine and feminine energies in our day to day. So the masculine is your mind and it's the doing. The feminine is the body, and I do divine, and the body is the beingness. And I call the left mode of our brain, the chit chatter and digital, the masculine, because it breaks things down. The feminine takes and welcomes all that comes up. And it's also the right is where you sit with the unknown in awareness, uncertainty, unwanted, and unexpected, while going with an open heart and going with your flow. So once you have self-empowered, enlightened body, you can always be enlightened Zen master. Not laundry. It's called I get sad, I get angry, I get afraid, I get disgusted, I get happy, and then I get surprised, and then we have them come out into even more than just that. Okay, so it's emotions. Use the word. Let's stop objectifying and de-emotionizing, because people don't know how to go to the depths of them in the maximum of uncertainty, which is when you are in awareness. Which is why for me, any of those yoga mindfulness practices, they're all easy. I'm like, why is it, what? The attachment trauma information people made me aware, not anybody else. Okay, and what I mean by that is not my spirituality folk. My spirituality folk at a certain point started to piss me off, because they were offending, and they still are offending, all of our loved ones by calling them energy vampires, dark auras, demons, blaming Lucifer over and over and over again, talking about volcanoes and all this stuff. So, it is what it is. So, as we conclude, furthermore, for our spiritual self-help community, beingness and doingness in one means you knowing if you are the divine feminine or divine masculine of your oversoul. This is something that only the divine feminine will be inclined to be aware of and curious about. A divine masculine, it's if they get curious of mysticism in any way, shape, or form, and that can obviously, there's no blank statements here. Once you are whole as an inner child adult with mind, heart, body harmony, you find that mindfulness, mindset, and mindset practices bring you to know pure bliss every day more. You also experience deep connections, and you create long-lasting, genuine heart-to-heart relationships where the bonds go way beyond the physical and what words could ever describe. It's amazing. And if you're a mystic, then you know even more. Thanks to spiritual self-help or secular self-help mindfulness, mindset, and mindset practices, we get to embody the essence of all that life can bring forth as a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, and regulating mindful person and or 5D mystic. So remember, please, we are always processing thoughts and emotions as we live, being ourselves in our day-to-day life and in our relationships. And we heal trauma one person at a time, one relationship at a time, because we are functional adults who are aware of ourselves, self-aware, accountable, and regulating. And we use love and patience when working through processing trauma. That's very important, because that expands the window of tolerance for people. But it also allows you to witness, process, and heal completely, and welcoming yourself, those fragments, back home piece by piece. The emotional charge gets uncharged in safe haven, secure base space within your mind, your body, and with a securely attached, functional, adult, healthy, self-worth woman, man, or they. And therapists are important because they keep you on that path, especially if you have maladaptive patterns, like Dr. Daniel Fox shares. Okay, so trauma taken seriously has no shortcuts, which is why these apps, yes, that's one step, great. And after that, though, every day you choose to be true to yourself and to being yourself. And we'll close off with this. Dr. Daniel Fox, in his most recent video on how abandonment and BPD can sabotage a relationship, shares, imagine trusting someone less when they are kind to you. BPD, they don't see partnerships as partnerships. They see them as battles. And they actually test people in their partnerships by getting into these fights. When everything's calm, they get hypervigilant and they begin to do things. So if a BPD person doesn't know their lens, they won't know what they're doing, which is sad. This is why we want empowered, educated voices. So when I share things with people about trauma, it's because the opportunity can arise. I don't hide any of it. And when someone wants to romanticize or demonize, I don't sit quietly. I also don't make it my mission to say, I know all things. No, I say, from what I'm learning, da-da-da-da. So that's how we share with each other, empowering messages, voices, information. I welcome all of you. If you know anybody who's interested in doing Journey with us and hearing about funny people, me, funny stories, let them know about IHP. So join us, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by.